let me start off by saying this is a bit comical because we're talking about a system where the people, many of the people, most of the people have no idea of how to keep track of proper time, or on no biblical time. Father Time is the Most High himself, so he told us how to create time and how we should track time. But these other people, they want to come up with their own system, so that's what we have to deal with in this beast system that we're living in right now. But today, here in Turtle Island, the so-called United States, it is the 1st of February, quote unquote. And as every year for some time now, we know that that's supposed to be the beginning of so-called Black History Month. Now, the purpose of this conversation is not to get into, the festivity and the season and the pomp and circumstance that's usually done. My message to everyone is, as what I've done for the past number of years, is let's take the concept of what was given, which now the reason that it was given, because let's be honest, this wicked nation, they don't really want to do anything for us, but they have to game the system to keep you asleep, to make you feel like that you're somehow a part of this and engaged. Because if all of a sudden, if you become awakened and your mind opens up and your mind and start placing yourself into a different construct, different precepts, different possibilities of existence, and you don't have to accept this system that they've laid out here for you, that's when you can finally start to have change in your personal life, starting first and foremost, but then also change as a people collectively. So the reason why we were spoon-fed in the indoctrinized, industrialized, excuse me for that, financial app again, education system, the reason it's been that way is to draw you in and to brainwash, to give you something to feed on, because if they're the ones who are spoon-feeding the information, even if there is a certain amount of truth to it, they can control your mind in this mind control system. So I want to take the concept of the history of our people and rediscovering and restoring our people. But let's take our history with us, and let's not just simply do it for 1 month, for one cycle. Let's do it all year round, for as long as that you have here in this world. We need to uncover the real history, the true history, the truth. And we need to pass it to each other. For those elders out there, former educators perhaps, the older generations, it's your responsibility to pass it on to the younger people, to the people who are young adults, like myself now. Even with a certain amount of elders that may be out there, it's our responsibility to pass this on amongst each other, to coordinate and to learn and to receive information from our elders that are awakened and that have been able to have that knowledge. And let's be honest, we have a lot of these so-called elders who are asleep themselves, or who are not moving in the best ways that's for our people. I don't want to make this video about this, but that is why Gladys Knight did what she did. That's why she's doing what she's doing. So it's not just the young, you have from old on down. So the middle-aged folks or the young adults, we have to share this amongst ourselves, and we need to receive information from our elders who do know better and who do know the truth and who are awakened. And we need to be the conduit, because sometimes you get these generational gaps or these generational divides, okay? And some of the elders and the seniors may not be able to communicate to the very young. So we who are in the middle and still young adult we can be very good intermediaries, especially if you have children for yourself. If you have a family, we could be intermediaries between the very young and the very old, the elderly. So we can't just sit here and just simply live our lives because we're young and feel like that we have so many amount of years left in this world. We also, too, for those who have the knowledge, for the ability, the know, the capacity to teach others that are younger than ourselves, or less experienced, or less accomplished, or just simply don't have the age. We need to teach those that are younger, the young ones that are coming up now, the very young. We need to teach them this real history so they don't have to go through the same processes that we went through, so they can be awakened. Because if I would have had this information when I was younger, starting from a very early age, and like I say, you got a certain amount of it, you were spoon-fed a little bit of it, but if I would have had this information starting off a very young, the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, the full truth, I can tell you this, things would have been a lot different, okay? How would that have been different in my life? How could that have impacted other people? And if we look at ourselves collectively as a people, starting out from very young, if we control the information that's disseminated, if we control our own education of our young people, if we control the curriculum, if we give them the truth from day one, if we don't have them to where they sitting in these basically plantation reservation school system being indoctrinated and brainwashed, like how I was indoctrinated, like how I was brainwashed, like what happened to many of us, then they can avoid the things that we maybe went through and that even some of our older folks have gone through. So take it for what it is. Like I say, I don't get too much into these so-called holidays and days and celebrations and feasts and festivities and all the pomp and circumstance in this system, because I know what this nation is, okay? I know what the arrangement is, but take it for what it is, but use it as kind of as like a reminder, like an annual checkup. Just like you might have a doctor or a primary care physician, you may do an annual checkup. You go to your dentist, you get an annual checkup. Think of this month, quote unquote, as an annual checkup to reevaluate and to refresh, to be retrospective and introspective on, are we keeping our history? Are we gatekeeping our own history? And here's another thing too, because this is what I do, especially with this whole DNA ancestry test ordeal. Once again, I'm not going to get into the details of that, but what these companies try to tell you with this so-called DNA ancestry test is bogus. What you need to do, and I know our people haven't really had the capacity to do that over all the ages, but what you need to do, especially getting back with your elders, you need to have your own family recorded history documented. Talk to your elders, talk to the old folks. If you have any type of birth certificates or affidavits of live birth, the marriages that have taken place in your families, all the relationships, document these things. Document the lineage. Document the patrilineal and the matrilineal. Document everything. Keep your own family history. Keep your own personal family records. And if you have some kind of record keeping system, database system, stored digitally, whatever you do, keep and preserve your own recorded and documented family history. Okay? That way you don't have someone else that will try to tell you your history for you. Okay? If you have a Bible, this is what they used to do in the olden days. If you have a Bible, keep a family Bible. Okay? Record everything. Record births. Get you a Hebrew calendar so you can know the proper time, because the true first month will be the so-called April or the so-called Nisan. But see, I just simply call it the first month, okay? Because when you look at these so-called names in the even so-called Hebrew Bible, a lot of these names have a Neo-Babylonian origin during that time of captivity and oppression. So let's not get into the names that they call these months and these days, because they all have a pagan origin. let's just say the first month or the second month, that's how it's just supposed to be. Or the first day or the second day all the way to the last day, the true Sabbath, which is not the worldly Sunday. So document and record your own family history, okay? Keep it in that family Bible. Keep in whatever record keeping method or process you feel like that you can restore and disseminate that history through your Bible. That way, when you pass some kind of legacy on down to the descendants, to the rest of your family members, your extended family, and the people who come after you, they won't have to go to anyone else to try to, spit in some little test tube for these so-called DNA ancestry tests. You will have maintained all those records for yourself.